Item: SCP-1377. Code name: Automaton Parliament. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Instances of SCP-1377-1301 are to be preserved after initial intake and observation in the C wing of the Site-23 morgue, which has been repurposed for containment protocols and retrofitted with necessary security infrastructure. Access to SCP-1377-1301 instances for experimentation requires written authorization from the Research Director and the Cybernetics Initiative Committee. During the appearance of a new iteration of SCP-1377-1301, designated liaisons from security organizations responsible for national legislatures will contact the Research Director immediately. The Research Director will then relay instructions to MTF Kappa 71, Roberto's Rules of Order, which will either neutralize and contain SCP-1377-1301 directly, or direct Foundation security assets in closest proximity to the event to do so. Due to the politically sensitive nature of SCP-1377 events, use of amnestic drugs on witnesses during subsequent information control efforts is to be minimized. See Protocol 1377 Solon documentation for more details. All information control procedures related to SCP-1377 must be approved by the Research Director prior to implementation. Description: SCP-1377 is a phenomenon affecting world legislative bodies. Beginning in 1952 and continuing into the present day, a humanoid automaton of varying physical characteristics, hereby referred to as an instance of SCP-1377-1301, will make its way from an unknown origination point to an official session of a national legislative body, present a set of forged credentials identifying itself as a member of that body, and attempt to address the chamber. In all cases, the forged credentials have identified SCP-1377-1301 as a representative of a fictitious constituency within that nation's jurisdiction. Examples include impersonations of an MP of the United Kingdom Parliament from Lockbero, a Chilean deputy representing the Camino Desconocido region, a Botswana Assembly member from Nwand West, and a United States Senator representing the state of Keswick. SCP-1377-1301 instances are composed of living, organic tissue, and bear a loosely analogous resemblance to Homo sapiens. However, the anatomy of SCP-1377-1301 varies significantly from that of humans. Specimens possess musculature and connective tissues similar to H. sapiens, but lack any discernible internal organs, instead featuring an indeterminate, fleshy mass where a human's thoracic cavity would ordinarily be. Additionally, SCP-1377-1301 specimens have a skeletal structure composed of tissue resembling hardened cartilage. This is believed to account for SCP-1377-1301's erratic and halting movements. DNA analysis confirms that SCP-1377-1301 matches no biological organism currently known to the Foundation. Because of the lack of data on SCP-1377-1301 specimens prior to their emergence, development of these organisms is poorly understood. However, each SCP-1377-1301 instance has ceased life function approximately 12 to 18 hours after emergence. Currently, 27 instances of SCP-1377-1301 have been documented in 24 nations since the first known occurrence on the 23rd of April 1952. All instances of SCP-1377 to 1301 have been recovered and taken into Foundation custody, with the exception of SCP-1377 to 1.14. See Incident 1377-1. If allowed to proceed into the legislative chambers at which the specimen emerges, SCP-1377 to 1301 will make a speech. The content of this speech has varied greatly between instances of SCP-1377 to 1301. The first observed occasion consisted of SCP-1377 to 1.3 vocalizing a series of static-like screeches and electronic tones. SCP-1377 to 1.7 addressed the Supreme People's Council of South Yemen with an 8-minute imitation of aggressive hooting noises typically made by gorilla Baringi, and most recently, SCP-1377 to 1.27 was documented at the German Reichstag engaging in vocalizations that, while resembling the sound of human speech, contained no discernible linguistic structure or pattern.